Okay, so I think Julian just joined. So once again, we're gonna spend this period using Pear Deck. So make sure you join us on there. There will be some questions that I'm going to be asking you that you'll have to participate using Pear Deck. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this presentation. If you haven't joined, just use the link in the chat to join us. And today we're going to be starting our new unit, Unit 4, Lesson 1. So we just wrapped up Unit 3. Everyone should now have their application project graded. And if you did not complete your application project, I did send out messages via Jupyter Grades with a survey that will basically ask you what dates and times are good for you to meet for after school tutoring so I can help you finish that application project. All right, but everyone, for the most part, most of you finished and did really well. I was surprised by how creative and the diverse amount of topics that you all came up with, and I really had a good time grading those. So thank you. But for those of you who still need to finish up, make sure you communicate with me regarding how I can best help you to finish up your app projects. All right, so on to today's lesson. Today we're going to be learning more about programming. Unit 4 is more about programming. Last unit was about event-based programming, so that if we click something like a button, something would happen. Now we want to be able to do something with data. And so we're going to be exploring this notion of variables. Okay, so we're going to start this lesson today, but we'll finish it up next class. So for the first part of class, we're going to be warming up by looking at some different applications. And we're going to kind of think about how they work. And particularly, we're going to think about what data they might, if they're using data, and if they're using data, are they using that data to make a decision to make the application behave differently? Okay, so we're going to be looking at starting on lesson 1, level 2. So you can click this link if you like, but I'm going to actually go through these applications on my screen so that you could just watch if you want to do that, because there's no code to actually manipulate or anything. We're really just going to be playing with these applications. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so when I'm playing, I'm going to be playing with 3 different applications. And while I'm showing you these applications, I want you to think about if these apps seem to be keeping track of a piece of information or using information to make a decision and change the way the application behaves. So I'm going to be starting with this bunny application right here. And again, you're going to be thinking about if the app seems to be keeping track of a piece of information or using the information to make a decision. And we're going to be, this is an interactive slide where you can click and drag these little flag icons. So if you think that any of these apps use information or keep track of information, you're going to click one of these flags and put it right over the application screenshot. So we're going to start with this one right here. Let's see. Oh, maybe I closed it. So it's going to be this one. So here's our pet rock application. And so we're going to just go ahead and play around with this guy. It says this pet rock needs some love. If you click on him enough times, he just might evolve into a very special pet rock. So let's go ahead and click on him. It says level 1, rockabye. So you can see that each time I click, the number of clicks down here increases by 1. But then down here, I also have some upgrades available to me. So if I have 20 clicks available here, I can click this button and basically add a multiplier onto my click action. So this will multiply each click by 2. So each click will count as 2 clicks. And then if I have 100 clicks, I can spend those to multiply each click by 20 so that each click will count as 20 clicks. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and click 100 times and use that multiplier. So, but I noticed that like when my click count reaches 50, my pet rock seems to evolve to Rock-a-Bunny. This is level 2. So now the picture of him is a little different. He's got these little bunny ears. So I'm going to keep on clicking so I can get to 100 and get that upgrade. Almost there. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade. So I use those 100 clicks, and so you'll notice that my click counter reset to 0. And so now each time I click, it's going to be worth 20 clicks. So now I can quickly increase my click score. And then once I get to 500, again, my little rock guy, my pet rock, evolves so that he's very colorful and he's got these little bunny slippers. And it says level 3, Rocka Waka Rainbow, evolution complete. And actually, I can't do anything anymore. That's kind of like the end of the game. So now think about this. Does this application use information, data, and also does it use that data to make a decision about how the application is behaving? So let's now navigate back to your Pear Deck, and if you think that this application, Rock-a-Bunny, uses data, or it uses data to make a decision, go ahead and click one of these little flag icons and drag it on top of this application right here. So I'll give you a moment to do that, and then we'll look at that second application. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the second application. And here's our second application. It's called the Poetry app. And it's telling us to click the words to build a poem. So let me run this. And it looks like I can just click on each of these. These appear to be like clickable buttons. So I'll say like my face, my eyes, and the night. That's a beautiful poem, right? So it looks like every time I click on one of these words, they appear on the whiteboard here. And I'm just going to experiment, and I'm going to keep clicking until I fill up the whiteboard, and then I'm curious what's going to happen if I reach the end of the whiteboard. If I fill this up. Like, is there a limit, or will it just like go off screen? I'm curious. I like to break programs. So it looks like once I fill up this area right here, my click actions don't do anything anymore. I don't see any words going off the screen or anything like that. So that's interesting to me. So again, my question is, does this application track data, or does it use data to change the behavior of the application? If you think that's true, go back to your Pear Deck, and you're going to drag one of these flag icons over to this application now, our mini poem maker application. So I'll give you a moment to do that if you think that's true. And we'll get ready for the third and final application. Okay, once you're finished, you can come back and look at my screen. So now I'm on the third application. This is the Thermostat app. And it says that I can try logging in with this username and password combination. So let me try that. So I'm going to use Ray's house and then the password hot and cold. If I click log in, it looks like now I can control Ray's thermostat, right? So I can raise the value by clicking this red up button. And when I reach 80 degrees Fahrenheit, it looks like the the color of the temperature gets bright red. And if I reduce, then it goes back to like this nice light blue color. If I lower the temperature past a certain number, it makes the number dark blue, like it's super cold or something. Let's see what else. I can click maybe the home app and that will log me out, it looks like. So now I can try this other login. Let's try Jill's house. Jill's house. And then again, her password is hot and cold. So I'll log in and it looks like basically the same thing. You know, it gets red if I get past a certain temperature, and it looks like my limit is 90 degrees. It won't let me go any higher. On the low end, let's see if there's a limit there. It looks like on the low end, 60 degrees Fahrenheit is the lower limit, so it won't let me go any lower than that. I'm also curious, what happens if I try to log in as someone else? Like, I'm just gonna put my house and then just gibberish for the password. So if you could hear what I'm hearing, it plays like kind of like a sad noise, like, nope, that's not right. What if I just try a different password for Ray's house? Same thing. So both the username and the password have to be recognizable. So the app has to be familiar with the username and password combination, or else we can't go and change the thermostat values. All right, so same thing with this application. If you think that the Thermostat app uses information or so if it tracks information or if it uses information to make a decision, you're going to drag one of these icons on top of the screenshot of the Thermostat app. So I'll give you a moment to do that if you need to. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show what the overall class responses are. And it looks like most of you think that all three of the applications track or use some sort of information in order to make a decision. And that is correct. All three of them do use some sort of information. So if we go back and look at them, so this first application, the Rocka Bunny, what information did that application track, or how did it use information to change its behavior or make a decision? So I want you to answer that. You can answer in the chat or you can unmute yourself. So Charles says number of number of clicks. So what did it, what did it do with the number of clicks information? Did it use that information to make a decision, to change the behavior of the app? Yes, okay, so how did it use that information? So it did, yeah, it remembered the number of clicks. You could see it being displayed on the screen here. Yep. What else? What happened when you reached a certain number of clicks? What happened on the screen? Oh yeah, you could buy the multipliers. I didn't buy the 2 times multiplier. I waited till the 20 times, so I spent my clicks on that. Was there anything else that happened when you reached certain numbers of clicks? Anything that changed visually? Yes, the rock evolved. So you could evolve your pet rock all the way to level 3, right? To reach the maximum evolution. The text did change as well, yes. So the image and the text both changed after a certain number of clicks. Yeah, very good. All right, let's move on to the second application. So this is our poem maker. What information did the poem maker use? And if it used information to make a decision, what decisions did it make? So talking about the poem maker, what data, what information did it use, first of all? So the bunny one was like number of clicks, that was a numeric. What kind of information did this one? So the text, right? There's text on each of these buttons. And like Charles said, if you clicked on the button, it would keep the text. It would put the text here on the white screen, the whiteboard, right? So it kept track of which buttons you clicked and put the text from those buttons on the screen. Now, what happened when I clicked a bunch of words and there was no more space on the whiteboard? How did the behavior of the application change? Did it overflow? Did the text go off the screen, or did something else happen? It stopped. Yeah, Berenice said it stopped continuing the text. It didn't post the text that I was clicking anymore because it recognized, hey, I'm out of room. I can't write anymore here. So it didn't matter if I clicked on any of these buttons, it would no longer put the text here on the screen. Yeah, good job. All right, finally, this last app, Home Thermostat App. So what kind of information did this track, and did it use information to make a decision? So there's actually a lot of different answers for this one. The limit, yeah. So if you went too high of a temperature or too low of a temperature, it wouldn't allow you to go any lower or higher. Samara says it used passwords and usernames, so it had to kind of have maybe some sort of data storage to check against if that was a valid username password combination. Yep. And if you put in a correct username or password, what happened? Did the screen change at all if you put in a correct username or password? Username and password? Yes. So it changed from the login screen to this thermostat screen. And then if you didn't put in a valid username and password combo, it would just play a sad noise and keep you on that login screen. Let's see, was there anything else? What happened if you went to a certain degree? What visual change did you see? Something to do with colors. Here, I'll show you again. You might not remember. Let's go back to this one. So if I was on the right one. Let me go ahead and log in to Ray's house. Let me hack his house and make it super hot and cold. Okay, so if I increase this to at least 80 degrees, you'll notice that the color changes also, right? It changes to a dark or a bright red. And then if I decrease it to 69 degrees or lower, it gets like a really vibrant blue. Okay, so the colors also change as well. All right, well done. So yes, all three of these applications track data and use that data to change the behavior of the application. And so that's a really powerful thing to be able to do. And that's what we'll be learning in the next few lessons that are in this unit. So let's now go back to our Pear Deck, and we're going to talk about variables. So if we were in the classroom, we would be using kind of like a hands-on activity using sticky notes and plastic bags to kind of model variables and the way that they contain values. But we're not together, we're not in a classroom, and we probably, even if we were, we probably wouldn't want to be touching the same sticky notes and baggies right now. So we're going to be doing this virtually through this Pear Deck session. So here's how we're going to represent values. So we're going to be representing values on these sticky notes, these virtual sticky notes. So on subsequent slides, you'll be able to actually draw or type in numbers and strings on your virtual sticky notes. So we're going to actually use color coding for two different types of information. For numbers, we're going to be using yellow sticky notes. So you'll see on the left here, we've got some examples. And then on the right here, we're going to be using red sticky notes for our strings. So remember, strings are sequences of characters, and we also represent them by putting double quotes around them. So you'll notice that this string right here, 1, 2, 3, that has double quotes around it. That is a string, not a number. It is different than the number 1, 2, 3. And we know that because there's quotes around it. Okay, so this one's a string, this one's a number. Okay, and you can also have combinations of letters and numbers as well, and any symbol on a keyboard that you can type. Right, so again, this is how we're going to represent values. So on this next slide, I want you to go ahead and practice. You're going to create your own values. So you can either use the text entry. I think there's something on screen that will allow you to do that. Or you can draw with your mouse or your trackpad, or if you have a touch screen with your finger if you like. So on the yellow sticky, you're going to put any number. And on the red sticky, you're going to put any string that you would like. So I'll give you a moment to write your own. All right, so I'm still waiting on a few people. I still see some people drawing, so I'll give you another moment. So again, make sure your strings have quotes, double quotes around them. So I'm gonna show one that I'm gonna create on my screen. So for a number, I'll put 4, and then for a string, I'll put high. And remember to put your double quotes there. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to show a couple of your answers as well. Just pick a few at random. And you still have time to enter your answer if you haven't done so. All right, let me clear my annotation, and then I'm going to go ahead and show a few of your responses. So this person picked 2 for their number and dog for their string. Notice the double quotes. And then I like this one, this next one right here. Oops, let me get my mouse back. This next one, this person put 12 the number, and then 12 as the string, putting double quotes around there. Great job on that one. And then this person put 7 for their number, and then they put the question mark, noticing that you could also put symbols in your string. So any symbol that you can write using your keyboard can be part of a string. Good. All right, so we'll do a few more before we leave off for today. So we're going to talk a little bit about arithmetic operators. So arithmetic operators is just a fancy name for these symbols that you generally use in math class. Some of them look a little different. So the plus symbol for addition, the subtraction symbol for subtraction, the minus symbol. This is called an asterisk, and we're going to use that for multiplication. And then the slash we're going to use for division. Okay, so when we're programming, not only can we use just values, but we can use expressions, mathematical expressions, for instance. So this expression is just 2 plus 3, and it will evaluate to 5, just like in math class. You add 2 plus 3, and that's 5. So each expression is going to evaluate to a single value. So now I'd like you to practice. And you're going to evaluate this expression, 5 minus 1. And so for this one, you can enter in the text box on this Pear Deck slide. All right, so most of you are already getting this. So just like in math class, 5 minus 1 is going to be 4. That's absolutely correct. And so we're going to learn how to use these expressions in our code to do a variety of neat things. So I think this is where we left off in third period. So we're going to leave off here and we're going to pick up right where we left off next class and finish off Unit 4, Lesson 1 next time. But we're going to see how we can evaluate a variety of different expressions, including expressions that include strings. So like joining two strings with the plus symbol. So 4 plus ever evaluates to forever, for example. So we'll pick up on this slide next time. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.